Is my audio clear or is it low or very high?
I hear you fine. I'm on my phone.
Okay,
Perfect from here.
great. My screen changes, right? Sometimes it gets
Yes.
stuck. So, okay, cool. So just to make, welcome to the 13th video community of practice meeting. I'm Pankaj Agrawal, founder of Next Software Solutions and working group leader of this community of practice. So let's get started. If anyone is here for the first time, I would like you to introduce yourself. I guess all of you have been to this meeting before, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Roger, have you been here?
No, this is my first meeting. Thank you. It's, I've been on a couple of the other committees, or I think last year, and on the writing committee for the xAPI document. But
yeah, I remember your name.
Thank you.
So, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Roger Swetnam. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Software developer, develop learning management systems and in the learning area. And a lot of my work has been done in the sport field and in training in sports. And I'm quite interested in I'm not sure what the video community of practice is all about, but I'd be very interested in learning. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, great. So let's review the 12th meeting, the last meeting we had on March 1st. I think my video is echoing, so someone's audio might... Omera, can you mute yourself?
I just turned my speaker off, so now the phone's on my head, so that might help.
Okay, great.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the echo is off now.
Okay.
Great. So, yes, let's briefly review the last meeting we had on March 1st. Patrick is here.
Hi, sorry I'm late. Hi, everyone.
No problem. We just got started. So we are reviewing the last meeting we had on March 1st. We talked about briefly on two different topics. One was about terminated and abundant verb, and we discussed if we should have only terminated, we should have both or only terminated, and we decided that we'll have both abundant as well as terminated verbs, and abundant will be optional, so that if there are platforms which cannot send abundant verb, they're not restricted. So here it is. So abundant verb is optional as per the decision on the last meeting. Another topic that we discussed was session ID, and we decided that we'll have a separate session ID for video activity, but it will be optional. The value of session ID will be same as the value of the UUID of the initialized statement. So whenever the video starts, it starts with the initialized statement, and it will have a UUID. So the same UUID will be used as the session ID on all the statements that is sent for that session of the video. The session ID URL is not decided, but we decided that it will be part of context extensions. So that is what we discussed on the last meeting. Is there anything we need to take up again on these two topics? Okay, I'll take that as it is clear and we don't need to discuss on these two things. So let's move ahead with other metadata or additional information that we need to track. So we have already discussed on session ID in the last meeting. We discussed on progress few meetings back. John Cavan is here. Okay, so we already discussed on progress, and it'll be part of it'll be as result scaled. So next thing we can start talking about is volume. We had once discussed about it. It'll be from 0 to 1. It'll be in decimals. So do we need to provide the number of decimal figures that it should have, or we can leave it open? Any suggestions? Should we mention the number of decimal figures that it should have, or we can leave it open?
This is Patrick. I think I missed something, Pancake. Can you back up a little bit? And
we just got started. I first told what we discussed on the last meeting, so that is all we have talked about so far. And now we are talking about the third point here. If you can see my screen, the volume metadata.
Yep. Yes.
So we had already discussed about it once, and we decided that the value will be from 0 to 1, and it will be in decimals. So should we have a fixed number of decimal points, or should we leave it open?
I guess if you go more than 3 places, you might run into problems with floating point values. So maybe two decimal points might be a good recommendation. So that way it could just be it could be just an unsigned int rather than needing to go with a full float.
Can you repeat what problem you would have with 3 decimal points?
Well, you could do if you went with a if you have 3 decimal points, it would have to become an unsigned double int is the data type that it would need to be. But if it was 2 decimal points, then you could do a regular int, unsigned integer, which would be good for I want to say it's either 1 decimal point or 2 decimal points. I think it's 2. And if you have more than 2 decimal points, then it would require programming a float, which I guess wouldn't be bad. It would just take up more memory space on the server. So I think for that reason, I would just recommend either 1 or 2 decimal places.
Is there a concept of float? And I don't remember about JSON.
On the JavaScript side, I'm not really sure, but I know on the server side, for sure.
Okay. So 2 decimal points should be good enough, I guess.
But I guess to answer your question, I would say it doesn't. I guess you wouldn't need to predefine the values, but maybe just recommend that they do 2 decimal up to 2 decimal points.
Yeah, I guess generally volumes are in single decimals, but so it is likely that most of the people will not be using third decimal.
I know on my stereo system, it's typically from 0 to 20.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but
yeah, so that would mean there'll be 2 decimal places.
Yeah.
I guess we can leave it open, and on the programming side, uh, if you need to process, you could reduce it to unsigned int or whatever you want.
I agree. I think that would be the way to go.
And it'll be part of context extension is what I believe. Is there any other views? The volume would be part of the context. The other possibilities are that it can be part of object, which I don't think is correct, and it can be part of result extensions, which may or may not make sense depending on if volume is 0 or not.
That sounds like the right place for me.
Okay, great. Is there anything else we need to discuss about volume for now?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, great. So I think John Keevan and John Costa joined just now. So
I think it's John Costa.
hi. So nice to see you here today, and we were just discussing on what metadata we need to store for videos and what additional information we need to store and how we should store it. So far we have already discussed on three of these. Session ID and progress were discussed in the last meetings. Today we have discussed about volume, so that is all we have done so far. So the fourth thing that we have here is speed. There can be playback speed, and it is generally 1x, 2x, or normal speed, or minus x, 1x minus 2x. So how should we store? What format should it be? I've written decimal here, but I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it should be a decimal value as well. Maybe a whole number plus a decimal, like the way you have it formatted there. You know, 2 points, like 2 point or 1 point something or 2 point something.
And now the audio books my kids use at school, they usually can bump it to 1.25 or sometimes 1.5x, and after that it gets unintelligible to most people.
Okay. So the value would be in 2 decimal places. Or should we leave it open?
Yes. Yes.
Or should we leave it open? What do you say?
I can't see the value in having 3 decimal places, but that's not to say that they shouldn't. You know.
Yeah.
Right. If they're going at a different speed, they're really not getting the learning. So, right, that's what we're trying to track learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it is at a different speed, and if it is maybe very high, that is at least captured, and then the reporting system should decide whether the user actually learned anything or not. Now the thing is, if some software, or if let's say YouTube comes and allows for 3 decimal places on playback speed, then if we want to be able to support, we can leave it open and let the player decide what it wants to send. Does that make sense?
It sure does. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
So we can say it will be in decimal places, decimals without the X.
I just on YouTube here they have a range of 0.25 through 2, and then with quarter increments of 0.5 normal, 1.25, 1.5, and then 2.
Yeah, and on dish it has 3. Yeah, it has 3 levels on dish for what value that is. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that the value can be less than 1 as well, I guess, to slow it down.
Yeah, so it will be both positive or negative.
It's all positive on YouTube anyway. I guess negative would be reversing. You would reverse it then?
Yeah. So it will be kind of rewind.
I guess it could be, but it shouldn't be under playback speed. I don't think. That'd be kind of weird.
It is. That's why it is speed, I guess. I don't know.
I think I like it the way you have it there. Just the 1 point something and
Even if it is rewind, it is anyway talking about the same thing. So it might make sense to have it on the same values called speed. And this will also be part of context extensions, I would assume.
Nice.
The only other thing that some of these can be part of is the result extensions, but again, there are positives and negatives about that. The context extension might make most sense, I guess. Okay, fine. So anything else we need to talk about on speed?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. So next thing is time. Now I have to see what time was. When we play, it tells the time, number of seconds into video. Was time completed. The time is number of seconds into video where the user is currently at this point of time. So should we have it in milliseconds, or should we have in this kind of format in seconds with decimals?
Mm,
I think seconds
that's
with
probably
decimals.
I think that's probably good.
I'll call it time in milliseconds accuracy.
I would say the only thing I've seen before is sometimes if you have a video that goes, hours or whatever, you end up with a pretty big number there. But I don't think that's really a big issue anymore, too much.
Yeah, it'll be a bigger second number. And so this time is part of, this would be a question. Should it be part of result or context?
It'd be under context, wouldn't it? What were you suggesting to put it under otherwise?
We have two options. We have result extensions and we have context extensions. So any information that talks about the context of the activity in which the activity is happening, the context in which the activity is happening, should go under context extensions, and anything that talks about the result of the activity, it should go under result extensions. So if a user clicks on play at a particular point in time on the video, that time
in this time though, is this the time? Okay, number of seconds into the video for the students, not the actual total length of the video.
Yeah. So let's say there is a 5-minute video and user starts the video at 2.5 minutes. So that 2.5 minutes is the time.
So that would be the time started, then, right?
Yeah, so it'll send a play verb, and play verb will have this time information.
Yeah, I can see how you might want to put it into a different area.
So to me, it sounds like a result extensions, but it is a 50-50.
Hmm. Any downside with putting it into the results area, or no? Other than it's in a different area as far as like reporting.
Right.
Technically, there are no downsides. It's just about what is right. So, anyone else has any suggestions?
Are you capturing that same timestamp or time position if somebody stops the video?
Yeah, so it'll be on play as well as paused, and we might need this time information on some other verbs. Let me see what verbs this is. So it'll be on play, it'll be on paused. On seek, we'll have from and to. So from time and to time we'll have when we are using seek. We could have this time information on other verbs as well. So on modified settings on session activity end.
On the spreadsheet that you're looking at right now, is that a drop down on that cell? The notified settings, is that a drop down? Yeah, is that the plus?
Yeah,
no, sorry.
It is just about formatting.
Oh, okay, it's an add. That's spreadsheet. Yeah.
So when we have played, we'll have this time. We'll on paused, we'll have the time. On interacted, we can have the time if we want. On terminated, we'll have the time so that we know at what point in video it was terminated. When completed, we can have the time, though it will not be very relevant, but we can have the time so we know if the user completed the video at the end of the video, or he went through the end and then came back and completed the video. So we can have it on completed as well.
Okay.
On abandoned, I guess it is not possible to get this information. So to me, it sounds more like result extensions, but again, I might be wrong on this. Maybe we can talk about this with other people at ADL and see their opinion.
Hey guys, this is Josh Cavalier. Just
Hi,
joined
Josh.
in. I apologize. I've been lurking and watching a lot of the videos, but trying to keep up with everything you guys are doing.
Great. Are you on the meeting for the first time?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I typically am busy during this time period, but I have a few minutes to actually see what's going on and just introduce myself.
Yeah, great. You can introduce yourself. Let us know which company you work for and why you are interested in video COP.
Sure, thank you. So again, my name is Josh Cavalier, and I'm with an education technology consulting firm called Lodestone. I've been focusing in on micro video for the last year, so videos that are 60 seconds or less. And my interest is in the collection of information as people are playing back the video and how it relates to KPIs. So that's the gist of it. And I'm anxious for all the verbs to be sorted out, and interested in all the work that you guys are doing.
That's great. So this effort will help you, and you could help us with this effort, and it can be a great partnership.
Sure.
Great. So let's move ahead. So let's because we are confused, we all are confused. Let's leave this as option, and we can discuss this later when we have few more people with expertise on xAPI and decide what would be the best. Next is from and to. So this will be when we are using seek. So when a video changes from one position to another, a user slides or moves to another position in video, it is called seek, and we'll have 2 points of time that we need to record. So from will be the point in time where in the video from where the user moved, and to is point in time in the video where the user moved to. And both these information will be part of either of these, whatever we decide. Is that correct? Okay, when looking at these two, I'm more inclined towards result extensions for now, but still I'll leave it open.
Thank you, this is John. I'm just wondering, are you duplicating data there from because your time is going to capture a start time? Would that also be the from time for just a play, or is from to only for seeking and scrubbing?
Okay, so let's clarify it here. So time will be for play as well as paused. So if you pause, it will tell the time when you paused. If you play, it will be the time when you played. And if you terminated, it will be the time when you terminated the video. And
yeah.
So these three will be kind of mandatory or required. And then we could have it on interacted. Interacted means when something changes on video. Let's say the video, the user changes the speed of the video, or changes the volume, or changes the screen size or whatever. So interacted verb is that send at that point of time, and I guess this should be part of, it should be part of required. So when a user interacted with the video changes, let's say he changed the volume, so that point of time will be captured, and it will be sent. Next thing could be completed. What is left? Completed. Yeah, so we could make it required for all of these. Okay. So nothing else is left. Only initialize is left. Time is not required there. Abandoned, it is not possible. seeked, it is not required because we'll have from and to. So from and to will be only for seeked. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next is subtitle. I think we had some discussion on this language track and subtitle. So CC subtitle. If we have. So subtitles can have language as well. So I guess we can say that if absent, subtitle is off. So if it is present, the value will be the language in this kind of format. I don't remember what would you call. We can give a name to it later. Or if someone knows what do we call this format for language? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So does this make sense what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I like the clarification on those cells. Yeah, on each of those.
Okay, great. So does this sound right, or should we change it to something else?
Are you trying to capture whether or not they turned on subtitles or off, or just if they're present in the source material?
Yeah, so there are two things we are trying to capture. One is if the subtitles are off or on, and another is what language uh, is the subtitle using.
Where is this being captured for off or on this value here, or this is only for language, right?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is if the subtitle is not present or if it is empty, we'll call it off. Say that subtitle is off, and if the language is mentioned, we'll call it present. So will it create any issues?
Oh, yeah, that would definitely create an issue. Either the value needs to be on or off, and then the language should be it should be a separate field, because otherwise you don't. If you're looking for, a value other than off, that it might cause problems if there's other values in there. I would probably recommend doing separate field altogether for on or off.
Okay. So what should we call?
Doesn't each statement specify language up top?
Language of what?
Yeah, where were you talking about for language?
I couldn't identify, but someone asked if every statement sends the language.
Yeah, this is Mark. On the base
yeah.
of the statements, the language, that's one of the top things as the statement begins. As first step is the language for each statement. So each statement will be specified at the top of each statement, right?
No, but they could be the language of the video or the language of subtitles.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly could be different, possibly.
So context has a language property as well. Let me find where it is. Context, yeah. So context also has a language property. Can we use this property for anything? There was a big confusion about audio languages. Let me see. So before we talk about language, let's complete this thing. So
I would say that there should be a subtitle, closed caption, subtitle status or something like that, where the values are either on or off, and then the language, the subtitle language is set to, like you have it below there. Value is language, English, US.
What should we call the property name? So did we CC or subtitle or CC underscore subtitle?
Could you do something like is closed caption to make it appear to be Boolean?
Yeah. Yeah, so to check enabled or disabled, we can have a Boolean value true or false. And
yeah. I guess I would
another
call
one
it,
can be for language.
maybe just call it state, perhaps.
Yeah, but
I can think of.
Yeah, but the name should have closed caption or subtitle or both.
I think both, closed caption, subtitle, state, or whatever. In this context, I mean, in this context, we've merged closed captioning and subtitling to mean the same thing. So I think the way you have it there, closed caption, subtitle, I would just add the word state to the end of that, or something meaning state, then I think that would work.
Is there a difference between these two things, closed caption and subtitles?
Yeah, there's a technical difference between them, but I think early on in our conversations we decided just to treat them as the same because they were so similar in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Closed captions typically have, sound effect references and stuff like that in them, where subtitles are just, whatever the spoken words are going on.
That's right. I think that was the difference.
So, is it correct that closed caption is an extended version of subtitles?
I think for our purposes, we decided just to have them be the same thing, since we didn't want to call out any differences between them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think slash. Should we have CC slash subtitle or underscore subtitle?
I think not having a slash is good.
Yeah, it might create problems with some languages, I guess.
Why could we not just have something like is closed caption, which signifies that it's Boolean, and
We could just have CC underscore subtitle and CC underscore subtitle line.
this?
No?
I like the idea of having is because, like you said, it kind of implies that it's Boolean.
Yeah, but it is too programmatic. So a developer will be able to understand. I'll be able to understand, but it might be
Could you
confusing
have something like is closed caption, which would signify that it's Boolean?
or we can call it enabled.
That's pretty clear as well. Yeah.
And does anyone know what this RFC 5646 is?
I assumed it was the EN underscore US or whatever standard, same as the browser language identifier.
This, the value here, can you see this? T1H.
Yeah, that's a strange value there, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this.
I would have expected to see something else there.
Yeah, generally we see something like this or with an underscore instead of hyphen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We'll have to create a pull request for that one, see if they can clarify.
IETF tools.
It's confusing. Okay. So for now, we'll call it en_us, and then we'll have to figure out. So it might be best to use something that is consistent with the xAPI standard itself, but we need to understand what it is first. Okay, next thing is language, the audio language. Yeah. So these two will be context extensions for sure. Language we could have, yeah, but
Can you change the variable name to audio_lang to make it a little clearer?
yeah, I was about to talk about what we can use is
Okay.
this language property that we have in the context. So this language, it says code representing the language in which experience is being recorded in this statement mainly occurred in, if applicable and non. So I think this value would be appropriate for the audio language. Does it make sense?
That makes sense to me,
Do
yeah.
these language values have things like the language itself and then the culture? Is that like when you're selecting a language in programming? Like EN-US or EN-CAN?
I think it is like that because English in US and UK might be different, or English in other parts of the world might be different from the English in US. So it tells the language as well as the place or the country code.
Thanks.
Now, I don't yet know what this RFC 5646 is. Still, I guess this would be the appropriate place for the language of the audio.
Yeah, it looks like language in the registry of, yeah.
W3 says that RFC 5646 is the latest document for syntax for language identification. But it's like a mile long, the document.
And don't dare click a link either.
Yeah, I tried to open the RFC itself, but I haven't read any RFCs, so I cannot understand it.
I always enjoy the oldie timey text font used on the RFC on those as well.
So beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It's so 1984 or something. I don't know what font it is, but
It was earlier than that, wasn't it?
Comic, was it Comic or something? Yeah.
Comic Sans.
Elite.
Yeah, by the complexity of the document, consistency is better. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so we'll have to understand this. I don't think it will be en_us, so we'll have to change it anyway. It is more likely, I guess, to be something like en_us, something like this. Okay, so let's leave it to research. If someone can get some information about this RFC 5646 and send an email on the group or to me, that would be great. Next is track. So there was a discussion about this audio language and track, I think 3 or 4 meetings back, and there was a suggestion that there should be a track name because there could be multiple audio tracks for the same language. This additional information that would tell the name of the track. So if the tracks are track 01, track 02, that name of the track would come in this place. This will also probably be context extensions, I guess. Is there any questions on language and track? Okay, next thing is resolution. So resolution could be resolution of the video. Now how should it be integer? 720, 1080. Does this look good?
I don't quite understand the resolution with a 360, 480, and so on. They look like they're X and Y values, and so you have to have.
Right.
Not exactly. If you
Isn't that more resolution something more like DPI or something, or?
if you go to any video,
But each device and monitor is going to have their different.
the quality. The quality that it says 480 pixel, 360 pixel, 240 pixel,
Oh, okay.
144 pixel. So what would you call? Would you call it quality or resolution?
Yeah. So that is like pixels per something or another, is it? But resolution seems fine.
I didn't really like the word resolution. It kind of told me about the screen size of the client rather than because those values are actually the streaming values at what bit rate the file is streaming. So,
right.
So
I don't like the word resolution for that.
It is not exactly the bit rate. It is the number of pixels that is being displayed. So it depends on both the things, the screen quality you have. So if you have a 4K screen, if you have a HD screen and you are trying to run a 4K video, it would run as good as your HD video, only it will not run as good as 4K. So
yeah, I just got there's a definition of pixels per inch or pixels per centimeter, ppcm or ppi, is a measurement of pixel density brackets resolution of an electronic image. I don't know if that helps at all, but
yeah, but this is not. This is probably not per inch. It is for the entire screen, as I guess.
okay. So this is not density then, it's
HD
high
definition video.
Can we call it something other than resolution though?
High definition video is video of high resolution and quality than standard definition, while there is no standardized meaning of high definition.
Resolution would be a great word. Unless you want to use the same word as YouTube uses, which is quality.
So it says frame size in pixels.
Video mode.
So 1080i is Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so for 720p it says the frame size is 1280 by 720. So 720 here is the height of the frame, and height is in terms of lines, I guess. Pixels per image. Let's see what comes out of multiplication. 1280 by 720. Yeah, so 720 is the pixel height of the frame. if I multiply these two values, it gives the value that is pixels per image. So 720 or 1080 is the pixel height of the image in the video.
Height, yeah. And that top right screen, or the far right, the colored screen, all those different resolutions, that's interesting. All the different levels of it, yeah. So that's what we're fighting with.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think resolution.
I was just going to point out this shows you the aspect ratios as well as part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think resolution is the right word.
I think resolution is a great word. I would second that.
So I guess the question is, do you want quality in there? Because quality, for example, could be a higher frame rate, or could be a mixture of several different things.
Okay, so we could have frame rate.
The frame rate, I mean, certainly used to be very important, but a lot of the codecs nowadays will have variable rate frame rates. So it's a little harder to pin a number on it that won't change.
Yeah. So in general, it will not be used, I guess, but if you think it can be useful on some scenarios where the frame rates are very low intentionally.
That's true.
I guess my point was more to the point that resolution slash quality may not be appropriate there, because quality might be a number of things, including bit rate, frame rate, whatever, resolution,
Yeah,
color.
I agree. I just wrote it there because YouTube calls it quality.
Oh, okay. We're better than YouTube.
I
mean, they need to simplify it, for everyone. So.
I guess the reason they call it quality is because quality makes much more sense for a non-technical person, but
Sure.
resolution is a more technical person, and a technical person would be able to better relate resolution with this.
I mean, is there a sense that you might want something like quality, which would be a combination of a number of factors or criteria? I don't know.
Only if it is available. Like if this information is not available with the players, or the player doesn't provide this information, I guess having it would not make sense. I mean, we could have separate factors, and then your reporting tools could do the rest if required.
Sure.
So should we have this frame rate here?
Yeah, and just with frames, that for me that makes me think of a film that has a bunch of things going through a sprocket, and I'm not sure that may be appropriate now. It may be.
Yeah,
Well, it could
earlier,
be,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it could be more of a stated value than an actual playback value. You know, maybe it meets a minimum rate or something along those lines. You would say it's like, I don't know, 60 frames a second, or maybe if it's maybe if it's something else that's kind of like a virtual reality app or video or whatever, maybe the frame rate would be much higher, around 100 or something.
Mhm.
Even though at playback it may change, you know, but maybe it'll have a certain stated value.
So what should we have as a value here? Should it be a fixed value or a range, or what should it be?
I think it should just be a number, open number, um, probably a positive integer of some sort.
Should it be integer or with decimals?
It would just, I think it would be a whole number, integer.
One frame per second. So minimum value would be one frame per second. So you cannot have video with
Yeah, I mean, can you have videos with half a frame per second? I guess you could.
What about VR goggles? That's two screens, effectively, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they have
on
these
those,
pan rates and these and
that's what I mean. That's what I was saying. Like I've been doing some research into Oculus Rift, and they run a higher frame rate than say like the Google Cardboard does, because of otherwise you get vertigo and kind of it drags when you turn your head. You kind of get this artifacting effect otherwise. So I think they run over 70 frames per second, and even maybe a lot higher than that sometimes.
if I guess it doesn't need they don't need to run at very high frame rates, because they split the vision into two parts, so both eyes are seeing different videos, and they can run at normal speed if required. Higher speed might give better understanding of the video, definitely. It is always better, but
Well, it depends on the activity that you're doing. If you're like in a fighter jet or something, then you're going to need a faster frame rate as you're, looking around a lot more. And so I don't know if they combine the two frame rates of the two screens and say, all right, well now we're at 120 frames per second because we're running 60 on each eye.
higher frame rates are required when especially on these 3D videos. Higher frame rates are required when there is one video running and you see using a variable shutter eyeglasses. So the eyeglass shutter keeps shutting off one of your eyes at a point of time. So
like the 3D glasses or whatever.
Yeah, 3D glasses. So the video there is one video, but you are not seeing the entire video with a particular eye. So one eye will be shut down at a point of time, and at the same time the video changes. So that is when frame rates are generally like 120 frames per second.
Right.
So the image keeps changing, and your right eye will be seeing what the video wants you to see, and left eye will see what the video wants you to see, even though the video is one. So only there you'll see very high frame rates. Otherwise, it is not required to have high frame rates for 3D or 4D experience. So if you use the Google Cardboard with your normal phone, you can see a very good VR experience.
The one thing that I read too was that the Google Cardboard runs at a slower frame rate than the Oculus Rift does. But
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly the number.
Yeah, obviously Oculus Rift is a specialized device for that purpose, and Google Cardboard can run only as much as your phone can run at. So it'll be normal.
Exactly. It was a hardware limitation, not a software limitation.
Yeah. So anyway, a higher frame rate will not be a problem if we call it integer, but a slower frame rate will have problems here, because if you're running a video very slow for any specific purpose, let's say the frame changes every 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you would have problem with integers. So should we call it decimals? Yes, no, maybe.
I would say integer would be sufficient, but I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I don't know. I would just vote for a regular integer on this one. I've never seen frame rates expressed as in a decimal format before, but I could be wrong.
Anyone else?
Yeah, everything I can find ranges from 24 to 300, which is the super high speed sports video and stuff.
Yeah, I guess 300 would be for capturing like a bullet or something extremely high speed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's call it integer till we have any conflicts. Okay, so we have made a very good progress today. We'll talk about few more metadata, try to find what is missing in the next meeting. We are already past time. Already 23 minutes past today's meeting time. So thanks everyone. Let's meet on when it is. Let's meet on 3rd May next meeting. See you everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye then.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.